I'm Nurul Adila Hikmah binti Nur Asri, metric number 2024-421-258. I am Shahira Amira binti Idris, metric number 2024-642484.
My name is Nur Izman Shafiqah binti Muhammad Azlan, metric number 2024237738.
My name is Wada Najobi Shaidik, matrix number 2024655812.
Mom, look at this picture. South Korea is so beautiful. Can I go there, please?
It sounds good, but before you go, did you know about South Korea?
Tell me everything, Mom.
Alright, South Korea is located in the central part of Northeast Asia. It shares the Korean peninsula with North Korea. It's surrounded by the sea on all sides except the north, and most of the land is mountainous, higher in the east and lower in the west. And the climate is very unique too. It has 4 distinct seasons. Spring and autumn are clear and dry, perfect for travel. Summer is hot and humid, while winter is cold and snowy.
Snow? That sounds magical. Have you ever been there, Mom?
Not yet, but I have read a lot. The average temperature range from 10 degrees Celsius to 20 degrees Celsius. Most of the rain falls in the summer, especially during a rainy season they call Changma, which lasts about a month.
That's impressive. I have studied Korean history at school and I am interested about the history, especially about the language. They speak Korean and use their own writing system called Hangul. It was created by King Sejong during the Joseon dynasty. It's even recognized by UNESCO for its cultural value. And speaking of national symbols, do you know about their flag?
I've seen it, but I don't know what it means.
It's called the Teguki. The red and blue circle in the middle stands for balance between yin and yang. The white background means peace and purity, and the 4 black symbols at the corners represent heaven, earth, water, and fire.
You have learned so much, but do you know how strong the economy is?
A bit, but not everything. Tell me.
Well, South Korea has one of the strongest economies in Asia. It's the 4th largest in Asia and 13th in the world.
That's really high. How did they get so successful?
A long time ago, they were a poor country, but the government worked hard. They built factories, improved schools, and started selling things to other countries.
Selling what kind of things?
Mostly electronics, car, ship, and steel. Big companies like Samsung, LG, Hyundai, and Kia are all from South Korea. They send their product all around the world.
So the exports help their economy grow?
Exactly. Almost half of the South Korea money comes from exporting things. That's one of the reasons their economy is so strong.
Do they have any problems?
Yes, a few. Not many people are having babies now, so the population is getting older. This means fewer people will be working in the future. Also, because they trade with other countries a lot, global problems can affect them too.
Mom, Anya, what are you two talking about seriously? We were talking about South Korea. I want to go there one day. South Korea? Really? You should see what's happening with inflation over there. Everything getting expensive. Look.
Good day, I am Shahira Amira and you are watching ECO News. In this segment, we report on the inflation trend in South Korea over a 6-year period from 2019 to 2024. The data highlights the significant shift in the nation's economic climates, influenced by both domestic and international factors. In 2019, inflation stood at a low 0.38% and slightly increased to 0.54% in 2020. However, by 2021, inflation rose to 2.5% and in 2022, it surged to 5.09% driven by the post-pandemic recovery, global supply chain disruptions, and rising commodity prices. 2022 marked the highest inflation rate since the 1998 Asian financial crisis, with a consumer price index increase of 5.1%. Utility prices alone jumped 12.6% in 2022, highlighting South Korea's dependence on imported energy. In recent years, inflation has eased in 2023. It fell to 3.6% and further down to 2.32% in 2024. These declines reflect the impact of effective monetary policy and stabilizing global conditions. Now, let's go to our field reporter with a special focus on the 2022 inflation crisis.
Thank you, Shaira Amira. In 2022, South Korea experienced a significant inflation spike, with the consumer price index rising by 6% year-on-year in June, the highest level since the 1998 Asian financial crisis. This sharp increase quickly became one of the nation's most pressing economic challenges. The surge was mainly driven by 2 key factors. First, global energy prices soared due to the Russia-Ukraine conflict, which disrupted supply chains and raised the cost of raw material and fuel. South Korea, being highly reliant on energy imports, was hit especially hard. Second, the Korean won depreciated by around 7.5% against the US dollar in the first half of the year, making imported goods like oil, food, and essentials much more expensive. Nationally, rising prices led to financial instability, with concern over capital outflow and declining foreign reserves. Many businesses forced higher operating costs and lower profit margins, slowing down overall economic growth. Socially, the cost of living surged, especially for food, fuel, and electricity, affecting low and middle-income households the most. Since wages didn't keep up, purchasing power declined and frustration grew over the affordability of basic needs like healthcare, housing, and education. In response, the Bank of Korea raised its benchmark interest rate by 125 basis points, reaching 2.25% by mid-2022. The government also introduced emergency measures including fuel tax cuts, energy subsidies, and direct cash aid to low-income households. This step aimed to control inflation and protect the most vulnerable groups from further hardship. Next, for the year 2025, Suhada Najwa will take over the current issue.
Good evening, I'm Soida Najwa, reporting from Seoul. As of May 2025, South Korea has entered a disinflation phase, with the consumer price index rising by only 1.9% year-on-year, the lowest in 5 months, and within the Bank of Korea targets of around 2%. This slowdown in inflationary is mainly due to 3 key factors. First, the Bank of Korea quickly cut interest rate, lowering the benchmark rate to 2.75%. Second, global prices for essential goods like energy and foods have stabilized. And third, both export demand and consumer spending have weakened, easing overall inflationary pressure. While the lower inflation rate gives policymakers more room to support growth, the economic recovery remains fragile. Many export-driven industries are still under pressure, and households continue to worry about job prospects and income stability. One growing concern is the rapid increase in housing prices driven by low interest rates. This has made it harder for young people and low-income families to afford goods, worsening in wealth inequality. In response, the South Korea government launched a stimulus package that includes tax relief, increased public investment, and financial support for small and medium-sized enterprises. The Bank of Korea also remains open to further rate cuts if needed. Compared to 2022, when inflation was caused by global energy shocks and the response involved rate hikes and price subsidies, the 2035 situation is different. Today, the inflation is driven by weak domestic demand, prompting more supportive economic policy. This shift shows how South Korea is adapting its strategy to ensure price stability while also working towards a steady inclusive recovery. Now, let's hear from the government about the long-term recommendation to maintain this stability.
Good day, fellow citizens. South Korea today faces a dual economic challenge, inflationary pressure and the risk of disinflation. In the past, we have actively used fiscal and monetary policies such as adjusting interest rates and public spending to manage these issues. However, as these tools reach their limits, it is now time for direct and targeted measures. Firstly, we are strengthening our strategic reserve, including rice cooking oil, LNG, and petroleum. These reserves will act as buffers during global supply shocks, helping us control domestic prices and prevent public panic. This approach has been successful in countries like India and China, and we are applying it to safeguard our people. Secondly, to combat this inflation, we are increasing direct government investment in key sectors like green energy, 5G infrastructure, and healthcare innovation. This strategy stimulates demand, supports job creation, and promotes long-term economic resilience without increasing household debt. We take inspiration from Japan's Abenomics, adapting it to fit Koreans' modern needs. In short, while we continue to use traditional economic tools, direct measures are now essential to protect our economy and build a sustainable future. Thank you.
And that concludes tonight's report on Eco News. South Korea's experience from 2022 to 2025 reveals the tough balancing act of modern economic management. The nation moved from soaring inflation driven by global energy shocks and supply issues to a disinflationary phase marked by stabilizing prices and weakening domestic demand. In response, both the government and the Bank of Korea acted decisively, first with aggressive policies to control inflation, then shifting to support economic growth as conditions change. The lesson is clear: timely and flexible policy methods. To secure long-term stability, South Korea must continue supporting purchasing power, safeguarding growth, and preventing speculative risk. Thank you for tuning in. I am Shahira Amira, and this is Eco News.